Okay. I definitely debated on which of these examples to include because they're all different problems, but ultimately they get down to solving an exponential equation by taking logs. So anyways, if you have questions on problems that aren't similar to these in the notes, please ask. All right, so this one starts out with the number of passengers in 1990 was 466 million. That's airplane passengers. And each year it has increased exponentially according to the model. P of t is at 466 plus 1.027t. Now it turns out that with this equation, we can actually tell a lot about what's going on. Notice that 466 showed up. That's the initial amount that we're given at the start of the clock, which is 1990. And we have this 1.027 to the t. So the 1 means it's increasing. You know, we've got a base greater than 1. And the 0.027 means it looks like it's been increasing by 2.7% per year. So t is the number of years since 1990, and we're going to use this equation to figure out when 850 million passengers should be traveling by airline, at least for this model. So when does the 466, how many years does 466 grow to 850? All right, first thing we're going to do is divide both sides by 466. And I got to say, and I've said this before, that one thing I've learned about these equations is to keep, don't get intermediate decimal amounts. It throws everything off by a lot by the time you get to the final calculation if you get intermediate rounded numbers. So the reason I'm saying this is I'm going to reduce that fraction 850 over 466, and it turns out that 4 will go into both of those numbers even. Now it looks like 2 is as far as we can go with this. So I'm going to reduce it to 425 over 233, and that's going to be equal to 1.027 to the t. I'm going to take a log of that base to both sides. So on the left-hand side, it's log 1.027 of 425 divided by 233. And that's going to be equal to t. Okay, when I throw that in the calculator, I get the number t is equal to 22.56. Now, they asked for what year, so it's sometime in the middle of the 22nd year past 1990, and so in order to put it into the quiz, I need to take 1990, add it to 22, and I get 2012. So in the middle of that year, that's when the population, or the number of passengers traveling is going to get to 850. Okay. Population of a region grew from 12.8 million in 2008 to 19.6 in 2016. Find a function of the form of exponential growth that models the population growth of the region. Here, t is the number of years since 2008, and the population is in millions. All right, giving us specific instructions on how to round k. Okay, so we start with now, P is the end amount, C is the starting amount, and it tells us that this whole thing, the first data point they have is in 2008, 12.8 million. So P is equal to 12.8 e to the kt, and the first thing we need to do is plug in the numbers that were given for 2016. Okay, we're going to plug those in for P and for T, and then we can solve for K. So 2016 minus 2008 is 8, so that's our T we're going to use. All right, so I'm going to plug in 19.6 for P and 8 for T. First thing I'm going to do is some division. Get that base of the exponent all by itself. And those numbers can be reduced, but I'm just going to leave them like it is. I'm not going to mess around with the calculator trying to reduce those. So we get 19.6 divided by 12.8 is equal to E 8 times K. All right, we're going to take a natural log of both sides. On the right-hand side, it'll just reduce it to 8 times K. And finally, solving for K, I'm going to divide both sides by 8. Okay, now I'm going to put that in the calculator carefully using the parentheses that I'm showing around natural log. And what I get is K rounded to 3 decimals is 0.053. And because they're giving us rounding instructions, we're allowed to use that in its rounded form. Use the model to predict the population of the region in the year 2020. So let's go ahead and write our model. P equals 12.8, our starting population, E to the 0.053 times T. And we're going to plug in, we want to know the population in 2020. So 2020 minus our starting year, which was 2008, gives us T equals 12. Okay, so we're just going to plug in that number and calculate, and we will find the population, the estimated population in 2020. When we calculate that, we get 24.178, and they ask us to round, I believe on the quiz they asked us to round at 1 decimal point for this answer, so 24.2 million. And we're done. I'm going to stop this video, and I'll see you on the next one.